Howdy friends! No Man's Sky is famous for its regular content updates that often add dozens of features at a time. Over the years, some of these features are replaced by better ones or made obsolete by changes to gameplay. However, there are a handful that I personally wish hadn't been erased from the game. I'm Kanaju, and these are 5 removed features that need a return. In my humble opinion, of course. Number 1 especially, but we'll get there. First off, number 5, Base Mainframes. Prior to 2018's next update, players were restricted to a single base each. Travelers would need to locate a habitable base and claim it in order to start building. While these habitable bases resemble regular cylindrical rooms from the outside, they included a few unique features on the inside. I'll leave the other features for another video, don't worry about that, but the one I want to call to your attention today is the base computer mainframe. Similar to the current base computer in that you would interact with it in order to manage and upload your base, this computer had another function that I had to look up just to make sure I hadn't just imagined it, because it doesn't seem like a lot of people remember this. You see, if you were to stumble upon someone else's base back in the day, you could log onto their mainframe with a guest account. This would present you the option to register your visit. Doing so would give you one of a handful of decal blueprints as well as unlock the reunion trophy or achievement, depending on where you played. I don't believe it notified the base owner or anything, but the idea of adding your name to a guest log is pretty fun. I've seen a lot of players request guest books for their bases over the years, and I always think of this old guest login. Due to the near unlimited number of bases players can have now, it might be difficult from a technical level to pull it off. But if that's the case, a similar feature could be added to player settlements, which are pretty similar to the original bases. They're limited to 1 per player, and they come with built-in computer mainframes. Either way, almost anything would be better than the comm balls we have today. Seriously, those things are like sci-fi graffiti. So I hope they bring this back in some form, either as like a guest book or something similar. I think a lot of players would enjoy that. Number 4, moons with water. Okay, so originally I wanted to avoid talking about terrain or biome generation for this list, and I will, by and large, but I'm making a small exception for this one. You see, moons used to have bodies of water on them just like planets do, and I want them back. Now, it may seem like an odd thing to remove from the game, but in fairness, they were actually pretty buggy back in the day. For example, my home moon of Azlapod Alpha, it used to have water back in 2017. However, it never got any deeper than a puddle, and that meant that the water didn't have enough depth to properly spawn fish. And because of that, I couldn't discover all the species on the moon because the fish would never spawn. It was pretty dumb, but gosh, it was beautiful nonetheless. For example, check out this other moon I also discovered during the Atlas Rises era. It's just covered in islands and waterways. The water never got very deep, but it was beautiful nonetheless. You know, before 2018's next update, exotic biomes also used to have water. Wish they'd bring those back too. And dead planets, low atmosphere planets, those also had water. I need to move on. Number 3, homing weapons. That's right, you heard me right, homing weapons. The homing grenade and homing bolt adapter were 2 weapon upgrades that used to be constructible prior to the next update in 2018. Bit of a trend there, it seems. The homing grenade module would cause the plasma launcher's projectiles to automatically track targets, like a homing missile. The homing bolt adapter similarly caused the bolt caster shots to arc towards the target. While neither of these really worked all that well at the time, they nonetheless held a lot of potential. I could see them added today as a sort of accessibility feature, similar to the autopilot added in Outlaws. For those players who aren't great at shooters, they could install these modules to help while aiming. While it might sound overpowered to some, in reality I think most players would rather do the aiming themselves in exchange for the 2 slots these modules would inhabit. I know I would. You could install a sweet impact igniter with all that extra space. Number 2, player monuments. Out of all the removed features on this list, this one makes the most sense that it's gone. You see, back in the day, again, yes, prior to 2018's next update, multiplayer was a very limited affair. Players would appear as little floating orbs to each other, and there wasn't any way to party up or join others' games. So when two travelers would meet, it was a pretty big deal. To commemorate this, when two players interacted with each other, the game would create a monument on the spot to mark the occasion. There was a maximum of one monument per system allowed, I believe. It was a fun feature, but it wouldn't make any sense in today's game. With the Nexus and expanded multiplayer features of today, meeting another player is pretty normal stuff. A monument really isn't needed, although fun fact, you can still find existing player monuments from that era in the game today. So while a monument isn't needed, I do still think there should be an Easter egg or something for players who peacefully run into each other out in the universe. Sean had stated back in 2016 that there was always meant to be an Easter egg if players actually found each other. So how about this? Instead of sending them a party request when you interact with another player, because none of us actually want that. Instead, that interaction could, maybe like you stick your hand out, and if the other player hits the interact button, then it could do some kind of two-person animation like a handshake, high five or something. Create unique interactions that celebrate players teaming up. It's not a high priority feature by any means, like don't get upset in the comments if you think I'm suggesting they add this instead of like new biomes or something like that. But I think it would be a pretty cool Easter egg, and again, almost no one uses that, invite to party or whatever feature they have now, so it would be great to see something like this brought back. I think it'd make it a lot more fun to interact with other players. I think of games like Journey, where the only interactions you and the other player could have towards each other were positive ones, so it was a lot of fun to interact. And while you can still shoot people in this game, obviously, it'd be cool to see some kind of positive interaction you could share with another player, even if it's only on the Nexus or something. But finally, number 1, my most missed feature in all of No Man's Sky, the Galactic Commission Station. Oh man, how I missed this feature. In contrast to everything else on this list, the Commission Station was actually introduced in 2018's next update. You see, where the freighter customization terminal currently sits on your bridge, there used to be this nifty thing called the Galactic Commission Terminal. Think of it as a mix between the Space Station Mission Agent and the Nexus. So, from the comfort of your own freighter, you could browse and accept mercenary contracts, usually for pretty good money. These missions tended to be more dangerous than the usual space station missions, so they were a lot of fun to attempt. But that's not even the best part. You see, much like the Nexus today, your party members could also join you on these missions and receive the same rewards. That meant you and your buddies could go on multiplayer missions together without worrying about some rando joining your party in the Nexus. It was fantastic. However, when Hello Games added the Nexus in 2019's Beyond update, they also saw fit to remove the commission station from freighters. I'm sure there was some technical reason for this, or maybe they just wanted to encourage collaborating with others, but come on, this was an awesome way to spend time with a buddy or two. Plus, with the addition of Outlaw Bounty Masters this year, I could see the commission terminal presenting you both legal and illegal missions to choose from. Seriously, for those of us who enjoy playing with friends, Nexus missions are currently the only way to share objectives and rewards, but they simply aren't as fun or as private as the Galactic Commission Station. I'm hoping in a future update, Hello Games will let us party up for regular space station missions at least, but personally, I'd love to see the station return in some way. Freighters are rumored to receive an overhaul at some point, and they're certainly due, so it's entirely possible in my opinion. Here's hoping. But that's my list of 5 removed features that I'd love to see added back in some way. What do you think? Do you remember any of these features yourself? If not, which one sounded the most interesting? Which one would you like to see added? I'd love to see your thoughts in the comments below, and if commenting isn't really your thing, leaving a like is also really appreciated. Thanks as always for watching and supporting my channel. For those of you who have been paying attention, it's been growing at an alarming rate lately, and I couldn't be more grateful. I recently passed 3.5k views, and I appear to be heading towards 4k, we'll see. To celebrate, I'm gonna do a community Q&A, ask me anything type video where I answer your questions about anything you want in a special bonus video. No promises I'll have the answers you're looking for. And actually, no promises I'll answer every question either because, well, you know how the internet is. So, while I usually like to try and answer as many comments as I humanly can anyways, I think it'll be fun to answer y'all in a video where I can thank you individually. I'll put out a post on which you can leave your questions next week, if you're interested, so if you want to subscribe and keep an eye out for that, not a bad idea. But until then, thanks again for your support and making this channel a success possible. I'll see you next week. Bye!